Okay. So I just had my first class. It was second grade. There was about 6 students. And so I started off the class asking them if they are familiar with perception and the way that you see things. So we all have different perspectives of how we see and different things that we gravitate towards, right? So when we first go in the mall, we can gravitate towards certain stores, or we're in the store and we can gravitate towards certain colors, certain shoes, certain designs, right? If we're in a field of different flowers, some of us are gonna focus and gravitate on pink flowers, yellow flowers, blue flowers, or we might even focus on the flowers that somebody ripped up and threw on the ground. So we're all focused and gravitate towards different things, and it's all about your perception. Now, with that being said, when it comes to good craftsmanship and poor craftsmanship, I want y'all to kind of think about what you think is good craftsmanship. So, this is what I said, right? I said, raise your hand if you can tell me what good craftsmanship is. And somebody raised their hand and said, and I can tell that this was a memorized, programmed answer that they had in their head already. So they raised their hand and said, good craftsmanship is when you draw in the lines. All right, it's not funny. I'm just telling you what they said. And then I asked the students, what is an example of poor craftsmanship? And another student raised their hand. He said, poor craftsmanship is when you don't draw in the lines, right? So I let them share whatever. And I realized that this is just like a program, like, or whatever. So I'm like, that's what I was peeping at first, right? And then I just shared my perspective. I shared that I'm an abstract artist. I love to draw outside of the lines. The type of style that I do is based off of scribbling and using layers and putting different things together, and being able to see like the treasure in what can be considered trash. Being able to improvise and being able to utilize and cherish all the different parts and pieces of what makes up a piece, right? And so, as soon as I said I love to draw outside of the lines, they were like, "What?" Like, And one of the students, he couldn't wait to draw outside of the lines, and I'm going to show you the one that he did, because part of this objective and part of this focus is that it says, "Is scribble scrabble a sign of good craftsmanship? Is good craftsmanship leaving white spots showing? If you color outside the lines, is that good craftsmanship? Is coloring everything the same color good craftsmanship? Is coloring everything the same color good craftsmanship? Is coloring everything the same color good craftsmanship?" That's what it said, whatever. All right, so I want to show you this student, right? Okay. So this is the first thing that he drew, right? Again, it's all about your perspective. It's about your perception. It's about what you feel like is good or not when it comes to your art. It's not like this is the type of class where things have to be black and white and have to be concrete. There's aspects of that in each class when it comes to like testing and having to be a certain level of school smart and know that your teacher wants you to put this or whatever. But there's different when you have your own perspective and your own way of thinking, right? So this is what this student did, right? And mind you, again, this says, if you draw too dark and can't erase the lines, is that good craftsmanship? Should we draw light until we get it right? Is scribble scrabble a sign of good craftsmanship? Is good craftsmanship leaving white spots showing? If you color outside the lines, is that good craftsmanship? Is coloring everything the same color good craftsmanship? And then it says, support a class discussion on what good craftsmanship skills are and why they are important. We want our artwork to look good, and it shows that we have pride in our artwork. Scribble scrabble, white spots, coloring outside the lines, and using all one color are signs of poor craftsmanship and lack artistic skill. I just wanted to make sure I repeat that. This is what this student did. All right, so he created this, and part of the class was students will share their artwork at the end of class, right? So this student stood up in front of the class. He presented himself. I'm gonna say his name was Mac. So he stood in front of the class. He said, "My name is Mac, and I drew a planet that this turkey could." Okay, so basically the assignment was based off of like a turkey, Thanksgiving. So like Tom the turkey, they're trying to plan for Tom the turkey to be eaten for Thanksgiving, create a disguise. So it started off like this. And then it's like create a disguise for this turkey so that he doesn't get eaten or whatever, and use whatever creative aspects you can think about, use your imagination, right? And so he said this turkey, basically, this turkey went to another planet. You get what I'm saying? This turkey flew and traveled to another planet, and there's things behind this darkness that you can't see. Like there, he has legs underneath this. He said these white spots represent stars. That's what he said. And listen, yo, this literally says in this objective, it says white spots. It says is good craftsmanship leaving white spots showing? Is it good craftsmanship to leave white spots showing? He he created a purpose and intent for what these white spots represent, which is stars, right? And part of this objective, it says students will share. It says demonstrate growth in craftsmanship through purposeful practice. So he purposely practiced to make sure that this background was dark, that he made sure there was spaces in between. He put a purpose and intent for what those spaces in between represent. And he created a place for this turkey to travel to. And it's like he's engulfed in it. I promise this is what this student, okay, for the next class, yo, I wanna kinda I want y'all to hear their presentations. I know that I can't show y'all them and all that stuff, but just so you know, this is not something I made up. Like as far as what this student said this was about, he said it himself, and I could tell that he was already there. As soon as I said, I love to draw outside of the lines, but your teacher, for your tests and things like that, when it comes to poor craftsmanship, they expect you to say that poor craftsmanship is to draw outside of the lines. That doesn't mean that you can't draw outside of the lines and create your own genre of what good craftsmanship is. So it's kind of just broadening their perspective. Every teacher is not the same, every art style is not the same, everybody's perspective is not the same. We are all individuals. That was like the emphasis or whatever. So this was the first thing that he drew, that student, right? And the second thing that student drew was, let me find it, was this one, right? And I gave him a challenge. I said, use different colors than you used the first time. So he created a hat for this turkey. I forgot what he said these circles are, but the circles represent something that is a part of him, something that he's holding, or something like that. But it's like this assignment and the way these students could completed this assignment would be completely different if I didn't give them an introduction and let them know that they can be as free as possible when it comes to this, and don't be afraid to draw outside of the lines, and be as imaginative as you can, because there's always abstract art. And behind me, this teacher or the students or the class, whatever was going on before, I came, these are this is all abstract art. This is an example of abstract art, right? And it has a structure, it has a balance, and it has a level of symmetry. So I'm not oblivious to, the point of this objective and what the teacher is trying to lean towards when it comes to balance, symmetry, contrast. Like I understand, you get what I'm saying? But it's just like that art is valued. Poor craftsmanship to me is based off of like not really putting your all into, like, not being purposeful into, like if you're drawing to like make fun of somebody or something, like if you're drawing uh something that is like, it's not necessarily about you and what you think, like you. And I was gonna say an example of poor craftsmanship can be when you copy somebody else's work, but you can be inspired by somebody else's artwork and then create your own. But there's it has more to do with your perception and the way you're thinking about what it is that you're doing, um, is what will determine poor craftsmanship to me or not. Not if you draw outside of the lines, because the world is outside of the lines. There's times where you have to be outside of the lines. It's not always fixated on this is the way that it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm learning from them, and I'm glad that I have something to be able to offer them as well.